Begin. Topic: paralyzing snake bite, day trading slash dark shadows of financial destruction, playing hide and seek on the wall. When the Mr. Cool as a cucumber husband Chanakya gets to know about how all the credit cards were smashing budget credit limits, all funneling various quacks under the same umbrella of infertility treatments. He loses all his cool, gripped with the fright of his life, abandons all work that he had to finish to come confront his darling wife. Husband Chanakya, stop this wild roller coaster ride, this insanity in you which pulls you towards your destruction, this time, however, fatally towards financially. And if you ever wish to see what consequences of unrestrained passion can be, then try to learn from the dead bodies of the moths lying around the flame who could never learn from their friends and met the same fate as the rest of their friends, death and dissimulation. Oh, my dear foolish wife, stop spending money like water on something which is a gift from the Super Kundalini. Your God is smart. He only gives the amount that an individual's body is capable of handling. If you still try to overload your body, it is bound to snap. Try to learn from your colleague, whatever her godforsaken name is. Yes, Sunita. I know not how. I always forget the name of such a talented woman. Still, coming back to the point, just look at how beautifully she stands as a multi-hand superwoman, juggling career in one, husband in another, and then on top, all the household chores too are done to perfection. The list does not end just here. Her kind even worship their husband as their deity, while you, on the other hand, get so exhausted that by the end of the day, all you manage to do is crawl into your bed, then put your heavy comforter covering the whole of your head. For you to serve your body hunger needs, it is like going an extra mile to conduct your goal with whatever little energy left in you. I admire you for being able to go that extra mile, but what good is it when this process is not sustainable and so is bound to snap your back? Just relax. I'm your husband now. As part of my duty towards you, I will always be with you, even if you are a failure as a wife. On hearing these words of comfort, now her body gets gripped with dread even more as She had never been able to relate herself with couples who had accepted a lifestyle of a marriage without any children. Mayuri, silly people, why sacrifice one's freedom just to become someone's travel companion? Then now, when she starts looking the glimpses of her future self as one of the very object of the class of people who negate her essence, makes her sink even more in despair. Dot dot dot. End topic. Begin topic. Initiated into the dark side of gambling, the monster of day trading. Begin quote. We learn from that person who stood naked in ice cold water all night and still came out alive, as the individual never lost faith in the Lord of the outside powers, Indra, who will ensure his worshipper victory by changing the bad environment to the right one, which will give the one a new life. Dot dot dot. End quote. Dear Mayuri's diary, the first and the only strict instruction from my dear husband Chanakya to me as his obedient wife is to never investigate the contents in his laptop computer. So dutifully, I too hang on to his every word as gospel until this fateful day when he has been absent from my eyesight for more than usual. Fault is not mine if I yield to the temptation of having a little harmless peek in the contents. And so then, with true feminine curiosity, use this opportunity behind his back to do exactly what he had instructed me to not do. It is not as if the ethics in me is long dead, but because curiosity in me easily overpowers my voice of reason. So even before it can even utter its word of caution, I have already satisfied curiosity's desire. All signs from the universe seem favorable for me, as contrary to his customary behavior, he himself has left his laptop computer open. So, even if I did not want to pry too much, there is just no way that I not stumble upon his deception of mine. I threw up a little in my mouth on seeing the secret that he had been carefully hiding from me. What if my high nausea levels would make me faint this moment with the screen open and he were to walk in at the same moment? Dot dot dot. Silly me. I should have already known that my rival is no attractive nymph from the wild, but his actual true love, money. He is gambling in the world's largest stock market. I continue exploring some more. I see here and there are some losses, but then there are some gains to recover some of the losses. Net net, it is showing a loss, a substantial loss. Now is the time to follow the great teachings which guide us women to correct our men if they are on the wrong path, putting them back on the path of righteousness. I too stand up to execute these commands of wisdom ingrained in me by my mother. However, I know not why my knees buckle and automatically make me sit back down and think again. My own faith and conviction on the topic are now in danger of a reversal. Now, instead of trying to reform my husband, I too become a victim to the same venom as him. Blinded by the possibility of having a new source of income which can contribute towards reducing my mountain of debt, which knew only one direction, upward, and that too exponentially up. No, none of this debt monies for spoiling my silly self with luxury items. Far from it. It is all going towards fulfilling a desire which most people get for free. Yes, indeed, what I just stumbled upon does carry solution to all my problems. Still, I wonder how it is that my genius husband's stock portfolio is showing hugely profound, serious losses. I think it must be because he overthinks everything. Here is the secret: buy low, then sell high. Even a monkey can do this. Hand over fist, people. Hand over fist. I'm all in. Now, if I get that kind of infinite money, then I will become the messiah of Wall Street, the biggest casino of the world. Then, when that happens, my picture will be in the tabloids everywhere. Then I will not even need to put up with this sick life of domesticity. And for that matter, why not just kick this husband out of my life for good? With this last thought, I became aware of the devil's presence is now center stage. So wisely, I at once break this train of thoughts by slapping myself hard as punishment for straying to the wilder side. What happens next? I too have now been initiated into the Royal Casino, the NYSE, New York Stock Exchange. Dot, dot, dot. End topic. Begin topic. Paralyzing snake bite. I-M- pure lust. Begin quote. I am the fragrance of flowers. the heat in embers, the disturbance in storms, the eye of the winds. What I need is that prick like Lord Shiva's that penetrates me and floods me with the nectar of life that can revive my dying soul. What I need is a cup of poison from my teardrop to cut the poison that is present in my body. Mast-mayuri, the enchanting serpent. End quote. Begin topic. The seduction. After long deliberations and inputs from reading the swindler's diary, Chanakya is now able to narrow down on a strategy which will ensure him with maximum return on investment, ROI, for swindling one's partner from their fair amount by investing all the partner's income towards the house upgrades. How quickly that a rascal's plans get approved by karmic forces is another mystery that needs deep study indeed. Due to the financial crisis of 2007 to 2008, affecting the architect's hardest, husband Chanakya sees it a fantastic opportunity to now start all upgrades by hiring some high quality, talented architects for some great bargain prices. Since the birthday of his wife Mayuri is also around the corner, and since he must gift her something for their marriage anniversary, especially because it is the first, and so hard to sneak out of a gift without major fights. So, using this coincidence as an excuse to kill two birds with one stone, he approaches his wife with a proposal for a water pool. Wife Mayuri chooses to ignore all doubts over his intentions behind his magnanimous gesture. After all, the outcome is exactly what her need is. He adds that since she is more enthusiastic about this project and his time constraints do not allow anymore, she now takes the responsibility of coordinating with the new architect named Faust instead. She accepts the offer with a gracious smile. When Mayuri sees Faust, his strong-built body like a stallion reminds her of her first love in America. Even if it was unrequited, all wounds from losing that man seem to take new life in her when her eyes first meet this architect. ... Who is this beautiful lady hiding under those grandma clothes? Paused to himself. Brave girl. No makeup? Not even a lipstick? Not even a wedding ring? All the women I know spend hours in the vanity room, wear clothes that let it all hang out. But here she is, dressing in a manner no man will even bother to give her a glance even. What a display of appalling opposites! Hiding behind those grandma clothes is a beautiful woman who often weeps in solitude on that little girl in her who she could not save from her death. Have some patience, my damsel in distress. The time of your nightmares are ending soon. I will be that knight in shining armor who you have been waiting for to rescue you from the clutches of this savage who crawls on top of you every night and then enjoys what is my meal. ... End topic. Begin topic. Wifey doubt. Begin poem. The enemy is fast approaching, yet she cannot understand her no response as a response in the scenario. After all, why would there be any when the pleasure is in dying, not living? ... End poem. As any dutiful wife's sharp intuitions, wife Mayuri too begins to sense some unexplained uneasiness every time when Faust enters in her domain, triggering in her warning bells as if this man will have more impact on her life than her own husband. And since such an unhealthy comparisons with the husband, even if harmless, has the potential of severe headaches in the future, she decides to avoid him and also disclose all about this feeling to her husband. That hidden seed of turmoil inside finally finds its outlet at a friend's wedding gathering, where in front of everybody the snake of confusions shows the darkness in the future ahead. After listening to stories after stories of wives trying to outdo each other in some invisible, holier than thou competition, Mayuri too does not want to get left behind, and so, in the process, outdoes herself by wagging her finger as a warning signal towards her husband, who is within earshot of the sister-in-law. Are you so blinded by your goal of saving money that you are willing to put your wife's security at risk by giving entry to some here today, gone tomorrow vagabond? Every time when I try to inquire him about his personal life, he simply waves them aside. However, because he is also human, prone to error, and since even the smartest ones have been found to slip in the matters of the tongue, so also did he when, in some casual conversation, he started boasting about how much he has gained in terms of knowledge by experimenting with human psychology. Made me at once wonder if he also treats us too as his guinea pigs in his psychology lab, where he can play with our emotions any way that he likes, just to get an answer to his absurd questions. He has nothing at stake. If any of his experiments backfire, while at the other end, what is at stake is my whole new married life, which, if disturbed, will enrich his knowledge base on my funeral pyre. To diffuse the situation, husband Chanakya, making light of her warning, begins giving his answer in a nonchalant tone. Faust made me an offer that I could not resist, a 20% discount if I were to pay him upfront, and if I do not take it now, this offer will expire. So, without even consulting my dear sister, I made the payment on the spot. Now my hands are tied, and will have to move forward with him only as an employee. Now, on seeing her husband give more importance to his sister over her, Mayuri feels, as someone who is still an outsider, is still not assimilated in the family fold. Now her thoughts make an easy shift towards the other man in her horizon, whose thoughts bring a strange sense of security in her. Fast. She now begins to think about all the powerful coincidences that have occurred in bringing these two players under the same roof. How Faust too had to leave everything behind to come to Georgia, while on the other hand her life too was also taking such a somersault that she too had to leave her blissful life to move to the same state as him. What a strange coincidence! Also, this man, sure, cannot be ordinary to have talked my genius brain husband into paying the full amount in advance. I cannot help but admire his genius in pulling off a feat that sure requires extraordinary brilliance. Now, when she sees herself admiring someone other than her husband, she at once dismisses the thought and punishes herself with a tight slap on her face, punishing her enough to never repeat such a mistake, as per the culture, the moment a woman appreciates another man over her husband, right that instant she loses her chance of winning the title for the most dutiful wife, even if it were unintentional. To undo everything, she secretly repents by saying a short prayer in her head. Then it is as if her husband is a mind reader interrupts her prayer, says, next time, dot, 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 end topic. Begin topic. Hungry. Dear Mayuri's diary, I fear the voicemails the most because now it means that someone has something meaningful to say. I am tired of dragging my body through endless insults just to feed this disconnected from soul body's vain mortal needs. Then does it not suggest that the most content people must also be the rudest, while the most hungry for more the humblest? I am sleepy again and need to go back to sleep again. What will do the trick of bringing this stone back to life? The thought of a good cooked meal. I leap from my couch off to the kitchen with a faith that can move mountains, that I still have some desires left in me, even if it is for my temporary body needs for some nice, hot, delicious meal. Therefore, I bow to the genius of Mother Nature and thank you for attaching this tiny stomach with a big appetite to my body, so now I do not go back to doing what I love the most: sleep, sleep, and some more. Dot, dot, dot. End topic. Begin topic. System GC. Parenthesis closed. System GC. Parenthesis open, close. Start note. System GC parenthesis open closed, a function in Java computer language called to invoke garbage collector to clean the memory of the computer. End note. Lying in a comfortable cobra mudra pose, gaze fixed at the computer screen, her mind is busy trying to solve the mystery of why one day her day trade worked for her, while the next day the same exact one failed. She is relieved when the chain of her futile thoughts, going round and round in circles, finally find a break by a soft knock on her already open door. She looks in the direction of the sound, and if the observer were someone who did not know them before, would not have understood the cause of the smile, is triggered by the presence of the face of the rare and always welcome surprise visitor fast. Assuming her smile is an invitation, he sees no need for asking any permission to enter her private bedroom. He enters as someone would if someone knew the other person intimately from long ago. Faust. I have been keenly seeing how your life revolves around talking with an inert computer screen only. This makes me feel sad. Why sad? Is because I've begun to care for my new boss. And so I want to surprise you by sharing with you my secret hideout. This place is magical, as whenever the stresses of work begin to overwhelm me, I take a break to go there, and then I feel magically recovered and rejuvenated. Being 4 years older than me, I truly respect you, and so I want to show you my respect towards you by taking you far away from this plastic world to a new world which breathes. She gets excited on learning about the age difference between them, as it is the same as her younger brother, Lucky 4. This mental association of Faust with her little brother Chandrasekhar instantly makes her trust him enough to accept his offer, and then also there is her curiosity in seeing if he is a genuine person or someone who is some secret recruit for some pyramid scheme which make fake promises of making millionaires out of zero. Now that these fake recruits are lying, as they do make millionaires, but just not out of us, but themselves. When he does not turn out to be one of those, what a pleasant surprise it would be. Now, this new enthusiasm is enough to get her out of her bed, but not enough to make her change from her housewear pajamas into something more appealing, and so she starts walking out in those pajamas itself. Now it is his turn to get surprised. He first looks at her from top to bottom in disbelief. Then he asks her politely to take a quick shower, change her clothes, comb her hair, and then come. If some third person were there, would have been one's wits' end trying to figure out the mystery behind her behavior of not just complying to his simple wish that will make this poor man happy, because she is a Taurus woman, stubborn like it is symbol bull. Mayuri. It's Marvish. Fast. What's Marvish? Mayuri. I said it is my wish. Marvish. Fast. When you talk like this, you sound like a monkey. Then is it my fault if I cannot follow a word you just said? Mayuri realizes she was being prudish. She blushes. Mayuri, my allegiance is for my husband only. It is only for him will I dress up, and no outsider like you. I'm going as is. Take it or leave it. Now his male ego gets aroused. Fast. Golly, When dealing with a stubborn mule, force is the only option left. If you will not yourself, I will pick you up and then put you in under the shower myself. Surprised by the thought of him executing his threat, she giggles shyly. Mayuri, give me an hour to get ready. First, half. Mayuri, 45. First, 15. Final. Showing him a fist, showing mock anger, she heads to the shower. In the shower, she thinks, what am I worth for? Nothing. Zero. Yet he does not think so. He sees me worthy of investing his most valuable investment in me, his time. My worth in front of my own eyes is less than a drop in the ocean, and yet he does not think so. As the way he treats me is that as if my worth is in millions. If I do not go with him a chance to show me what he wants, then it is a big loss for me. About his gains should not affect me either way. While she is finishing her gain and loss calculations, he is sitting outside enjoying the sound of water directly touching the sun kissed brown skin of her body. Dot, dot, dot. After this small piece of revelation dawning on her and him, their behavior towards each other takes a complete somersault. The mood must have changed significantly as her hands automatically go towards clothes which flatter her slim figure and some simple jewelry which put an unmistakable glow to her overall appearance. He walks surprised on finding just how the little victory over her has given him immense happiness, while she walks surprised on finding that her true happiness is not in winning, but in her defeat. Dot, dot, dot. End topic. Begin topic. Tree hugging hippie. Now that Mayuri has left all comforts of her monster bed, her mood switches to flying high with Faust in his flaming red convertible. He rolls down his window panes, she as if looking at him for instructions on what and how to do next in this new type of car. She mirrors his actions to the T. The weather enhances the mood by blowing a naughty gust of wind. How lovely she looks at him when those thick and long locks of hair fall over her face by the wind. How handsome he looks to her when his red muffler on a yellow top is flying in the air by the wind. When the weather is good, company fantastic, there is little reason for the mood to not turn up its volume from good to jovial. This becomes clear when she cannot help but let her humor sense entertain them some more with some of her good old humor sense and laughter. She laughs and she says, "Is this some trick of yours? Of kidnapping me and then use me for getting some huge ransom from my filthy rich husband? Then let me burst your bubble right now. Yes, your plan is sure to fail, as even if my husband is a fantastic figure, yet when you put in a situation where he must choose between money or his wife, I have little doubt it would be the former and never the latter." He smiles, she smiles. Dot dot dot. End topic. Begin topic. Chattahoochee National Park. Mayuri. How is this even possible? All this time I had a diamond under my eyes and yet could never see it. I drive past this area every day, and yet it reveals its value to me only now? Who can be a bigger fool than me? Counting all the luxuries that I have been greedily accumulating as my fortunes, where really they were my misfortunes due to their chain like binding nature. While now, when I'm in the lap of Mother Nature, I can realize that I have lost and what I should salvage. Now, with my awakened eyes, I can see how the merciful of all has given to us in abundance. Where we fail is in giving back with double force. So we can stay lightweight enough to fly across the oceans. I can call myself fortunate to get a chance to see a forest, as back in my home country, forests are just another abstract idea which sprung from the wild imagination of the rishis after smoking some of their favorite plant. Shame on us Indians for plundering all the rich forest land we have. What we do not realize is that this is a crime against humanity. Being blessed with superior skills, we as humans should be protecting the weak instead of just our bellies. First, do not beat your home country, India, for it, as it will not be too far fetched when I say that the Indian civilization is as old as time itself, and so has had a much longer exposure to man's mindless exploitation of this ecology than this country on the west of the globe. Since America is a young country, we should be using from the experiences of our neighbor India. Otherwise, we too will become it, and not just it, but this epidemic of materialism which has already devoured India will now destroy us too, along with the whole planet. So then, where do we go from here? Planet Mars? No, that is not the right answer. A sacrifice of our Mother Earth just because we could not change our ways is not acceptable. Even if we find another planet, we will destroy it too, as simply because in the process we have still not destroyed the cause. So, what do we need now? A big revolution. With harmful pollutants in the air, there is just no way that we can continue viewing environmental problems with a dualistic viewpoint of seeing the land as separate countries, oceans as separate for each country, air separate for India and separate for America. We need to see with a non dualistic view where we stop looking at land as countries but as land only, stop looking at oceans as regional but water only. Air pollution is not tied to a country region but as air only. This is the main reason that I have stopped seeing people by their nationality but as citizens of the same world. As when one part of the world experiences hardships, the tremors originating from it are felt by the entire world. For global issues, we need to have uniform laws at a global level. Separate religions trying to govern on top becomes a superfluous and meaningless exercise. Uniform laws for all nations based on eternal laws should be followed to ensure global peace and harmony. I want to shout my message to the entire world to not get distracted from the real issues that are threatening this beautiful creation of ours, as ultimately we all have been created by the same parents when viewed at an eternal level. Mayuri in a grim tone. Who are you trying to save? Each one of us has already sold their souls to the devil from a long time now. Dot, dot, dot. End topic. Begin topic. Is he an angel in disguise? Quote, wise like a tree because they stay silent. Dot, dot, dot. End quote. Begin subtopic. Animals. Fast. I'm reminded of my diabetic cat who got neutered just as recent as yesterday. This should help lessen all the aggression I have to face every day. Is done, Mayuri. I want to know how it is even possible that the same person can see injustice being done to trees but not animals? How is it even possible that these people who call themselves animal lovers are the very ones who take their pets to the vets for getting castrated, robbing them of their basic rights of procreation, being stuffed in tiny cages to be consumed at a commercial scale, amongst many other injustices, which I rather not begin now, as it will require a lot more time than we have. Yes, as humans, we have proved to be the most fit for survival, but this does not mean that we should get the most share of everything. No, that is being selfish. Us being ethical creatures means that we have an even greater responsibility towards the whole ecosystem. Due to commercialization reaching unprecedented heights, some people who are more aware want to just stop consuming all animal products and adopt a vegan lifestyle. The effort is appreciable, but since most successful and popular relationships found in nature are symbiotic, this sacrifice, therefore, seems an overkill. What we need to do here is have a system that regulates the balance between give and take. But unfortunately, due to the introduction of high tech machines, we are easily crossing all limits exponentially. The city planners have indeed done a fantastic job in careful land assessments, putting price tag on every square foot of land, and yet conveniently given the whole land to humans who can pay while leaving nothing for the animals. I oftentimes laugh with this thought that if we let monkeys also bid for houses, then we might just end up trading using bananas as our currency. My heart bleeds when I see animals getting diseases that come from a sedentary lifestyle like obesity and depression. When you bring home as pets, you kill them along with their role in the whole ecosystem. So you either bring the whole outside ecology inside your house, or else just let them go. Voss stands there amazed at how he just had such a fruitful conversation with a woman without focusing on the gender of the source. Dot, dot, dot. End topic. Begin subtopic. Consumer producer pattern. A pig society. Faust. Just like the complex organization of highly evolved insects like the honeybees, who engage in a variety of complex tasks not practiced by the multitude of solitary insects, are divided into groups based on division of labor. We, as humans, too, are divided into groups. Since the business transactions are the core component of this machinery which makes our human world work, to understand the bigger picture, I have simplified it further by dividing this fat class further into two classes, not over superficial attributes like color, ethnicity, and many other similar distinctions, viewing them as a society forming of two main classes, consumer or producer. And unfortunately, both sides are remarkably busy. While the producer is busy like a machine clearing whole forest after forest to use that land for making bigger and bigger malls to not just meet but exceed the demand. While on the other hand is the consumer who too is busy like a machine to not just meet his needs but act as storage for all the future generations in one day itself. The shrewd producer does not just rest easy, relying on human psychology of never being satisfied with what one has. He then comes up with clever schemes to tempt the consumer to buy not just for his present need, but also for the rest of his life and the generations to come, all in one shot. That is why now we have a society that has long forgotten the principle that we eat to live and not the other way round. My fear as a citizen of the world is that the culture of consumerism has completely broken the backbone of the ethical being. The moment he gets bit from the serpent of greed for more and more profits from a free king of his own domain, he has now just become a slave to his now high profile lifestyle. This materialistic society has now successfully replaced ethical behaviors with parasitic attitudes of take, and then some more, while not giving back anything in return. Mayuri, laughingly, this tummy that I'm rubbing is growing, but for all the wrong reasons. When I first came to America from India, I blinked twice on seeing it the marvelous job that the Americans have done in building this country. Initially, I thought that the beauty of America lies in its tall, beautifully architected buildings, but now I discovered that the real gold is in its national parks and the American people who go all out to ensure that the environment stays clean. This Indian got a massive surprise of her life when she first tasted the water from a spring here in America. And I do not exaggerate when I say that the water tasted like sweet nectar, while in India I cannot even dream of bathing in the rivers in their current state, even if it is our most revered river, Ma Ganga. Once, as a teenager, when I could pick up some courage to take a dip in holy river Ganga to cleanse myself from all my sins, turns out whether my karmic sins got erased or not, I sure needed a new shower for now. Now that we are talking about water pollution, I see not why I should not mention anything about air pollution. The air is so polluted that when people wake up, they are unable to see too far due to a depressing haze covering the whole of my city of New Delhi. My happiness over my escape from there gets eclipsed by my sorrow over my impotence in not being able to leverage my good state towards bringing the same happiness that can come only from living in a healthy environment. Fast. All this knowledge pouring out of you is not just you, but because in you, you still carry with you the fragrance of the clay of a land where the rishis made their home. Their honest values are ingrained in every pore of your body, which is nourished by their blood, which has become yours now, is finding its expression through your tongue. Like a fool, human sits hunched up in front of his high-tech computer screens looking for ways to own more gold, not realizing that in the process they just lost valuable time in getting the real gold, light from the golden ball of fire in the sky. Mayuri. Also, that reminds me that about street lights. I understand it is hard for us living in good houses with nice curtains to shield us from those strong artificial lights, to empathize with these trees who, unlike humans, do not have a tongue to voice their grievances. The benefits they give to us are just too many to even try listing them in a few words. Still, what they get back in return from us is unjustifiable abject cruelty. Why not repay their debt on us with more generosity and kindness? If it is a problem that the modern man has created, it should be him who should have to pay and not these helpless poor trees. I'm very sure that these very authorities who make rules of getting rid of trees to grab more land for their mansions are the very ones who will be passing amendments to change these anti-tree rules once they too cannot breathe due to lack of oxygen. I'm sure that these same greedy hypocrites will be scurrying like madmen for planting them back. If all these authorities of the world were to listen to my view, I am sure the trees will double return their favor and bless them back in many ways that is beyond our comprehension. Fast. Most of the immigrants think that America is great due to its spectacular downtown nightlife, while really Americans' true pride lies in the way we make earnest efforts towards preserving our natural resources, and yet what you just called a forest is no forest but a sterile gigantic size park, to be more precise. A forest is where wild animals run free. Do you, by any chance, see any at all here? No. The only place left for us to see them is either a zoo or a circus. Dot, dot, dot. Mayuri cannot help but feel immense respect of her towards him. Her life so far, especially after marriage, had just been the same, more or less, item per item, till this redneck from Mississippi came along in her life. He laughed at her, and with his sapphire diamond eyes looking in her brown eyes, says silently, "Wake up. There is a new life outside your bedroom window. That sunshine is for everyone, but only the one who can open their eyes can see new frontiers." Dot, dot, dot. Mayuri, you have opened my eyes to a whole new world. How can I ever repay you for this life-changing awareness? Here, please take this gold bracelet as a small token of my gratitude. He looks surprised and hesitant. She ties the bracelet herself from her arm to his. He accepts her token of appreciation with his charming smile. Mayuri wonders if he's the angel who the fairy tales always talk about. Mayuri could have sworn they would have solved all the problems of the world this very day if only it was not for the keen architect's sense of fast sounding and alert on seeing their shadows that had now started to look much longer than expected. Mayuri checks her phone. Damn time. Time had indeed deceived them. Unnoticed by them, flew, but not by the silent shadow, her husband. Proof, she sees around 17 missed calls for him. Faust, laughingly. It's getting late. Let us go now. Rumor is that the moon is an alien observatory that is meant to keep an eye on us. This secret stays a secret between us. She knows all about the warnings of wise people of not sharing secrets with other men, and yet she has little choice. She bends her head and says nothing. As soon as she enters her home, an agitated husband, Chanakya, asks her where she was and why, even after about 17 phone calls, she has never responded. As much as Mayuri tries to tell him the truth, she is unable. She at once distracts his anger with talk of giving him the money she owes him. Now he gets pleased in getting what he loves most. She gets pleased when he leaves all inquiry. End of fight. She heads to the bathroom, the only place she has real privacy in her huge mansion of a house, once sitting on her throne, she first heaves a sigh of relief for dodging another bullet from her husband, but the next moment she becomes anxious over her own conduct. Mayuri, if it was a harmless outing with my new friend, yet why did I have to hide the meeting from my husband, who is all I want? Still, why did God have to introduce this man in my life at a time when the possibility of our future paths to intersect is impossible? Now, when this other man's desire for me becomes unbearable, he will kill my husband. Once my husband is gone, there will be little reason left for me to not marry him, even if he is the killer of my husband. We might stay happily together ever after, but we as a couple will never find respect of the society. As if my life was not tragic enough, the thought of this new man's entry is making my life doubly tragic. To avoid more confusions, misfortunes, I must avoid him. More despair. Dot, dot, dot. End topic. Begin topic. Is she an angel in disguise? Begin quote. She cries more for the husband's friend than her own husband. End quote. The monster of the 2008 financial crisis is advancing at a fierce pace, with its mouth wide open, devouring jobs, mainly in the housing industry. Since Faust is also in the way of the storm, he too becomes one of the collateral damages. Mayuri is sitting next to her husband and casually mocks about the ugly hole in Faust's running shoes. Then she hangs her head in shame when her husband tells her the reason behind it. It's not because he is someone who is incapable of taking care of themselves, but because he has no job from the past 3 months. And that is not so because he's not putting in efforts, but simply because of external factors on which he has no power. Right then, her head turns towards her own closet. The sight of it bursting with multiple shelves of shoes makes her see the injustice in the contrast of too much and too little for someone worthy. Makes her wonder if she has been introduced in his life to reverse that injustice. She now begins to feel his pain just as any wife does when she sees her husband in distress. Realizing that his male pride might prevent him from accepting any monetary help from her, she begins creating small chores for him to do just so he can get extra money so that he can stay afloat till this tide of unfavorable times subsides. Before starting on her covert mission. She sees no point in asking their husband's permission, as doing so will only arouse more fights and misunderstandings for all the actors involved. When she's successful in filling his pockets by proxy, she feels proud of herself for being introduced in his life as an angel, while, on the other hand, he too feels proud of himself for having such magnificent arms that can do anything. Fast life is now taking a U turn, as if he has just married a rich woman. Is she the angel that fairy tales talks about? Faust wonders as he's finally throwing those worn out running shoes in the recycle bin. Dot dot dot. End topic. Begin topic. The one-eyed serpent. Faust likes a good challenge. What better than seeing if he can be successful in tunneling his thoughts into this kind of married woman's heart, who takes great pride in her belief that purity of love is to will only one thing. And for this dutiful wife, her husband, that one thing is her husband, and only, and then stealing her heart from her from right under her nose. Then, if that does not pull the farce of institution of marriage, then what else will ever? Luck favors the brave, and he too gets his chance to show his muscle. It is early morning when he arrives in Mayuri's residence, since he likes to hear some lively music playing in the background while working. He puts on some music with words which could arouse feelings of love in the listener, and a sound which will give an illusion that it is as if him singing those words for the lady of the house, in the house at that moment. His voice echoing through the whole house like some surround speaker reaches straight into the ears of the woman he had intended for. The music is doing its magic as he has started to whistle, and as he hears her footsteps dancing in her own room, he knew she also is listening to the same thing. Suddenly, the footsteps change. The earlier rhythmic footsteps of back and forth and then back again had changed to steady footsteps approaching towards the bathroom. Without much of a thought, he jumps into the same bathroom where she is heading, then intentionally leaves the door unlocked. Then, as quickly as he can, he pulls out his one-eyed monster out of his captivity, all out in the open, as his belief is that once anyone sees it can never forget that once in a lifetime view. Miss Mayuri unsuspectingly opens the door. Then, whatever she saw makes her shut her eyes and lets out a scream which, fortunately for her, no one hears. However, unfortunately again for her, in that moment of a blink is enough to send the image of the Thor's hammer directly to her memory's permanent memory hard disk. Her run ends as she lands squat in the middle of her husband's feet. Husband kicks her off as if she's some little puppy. Without aiding her in getting up, he asks her with an authoritative tone, "Why do you look so flustered?" She stammers. She bites her lip, as no matter how hard she tries, her tongue refuses to reveal itself the truth at this moment to this listener. Her storytelling qualities come to her rescue as she runs back as quickly as she can once over. Now, with her solitude, Mayuri sits and wonders. How low will I feel when two mighty swords would clash? In the cause of the fight is none other but me. Both care for me, just in different ways. One's love for me is like of an old man, for whom I am like a habit, while on the other hand is a young stud who makes efforts to see a smile on my face, is thirsty for the wine which only I serve. Dot, dot, dot. Surprised over such a corrupting thought that is insulting her own husband while praising another man be presented to her by her heart, she at once punishes herself with a hard slap on her face, so never can such a devilish thought can ever corrupt her allegiance towards her husband, even if the husband is really the monster in my fairy tale. Dot, dot, dot. End topic. Begin topic. Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. Begin subtopic. The scoundrel of scoundrels and the pervert of perverts. This is her day to shine, so leaving all work obligations, she heads to a beauty parlor to look the best fit for the new avatar she must now play. Indeed, she's looking juicy in her black party dress, revealing her bare skin under her shapely shoulders with spaghetti straps, her earrings adorning her ears with a double helix shaped twisted danglers which match with her twisted desires, her neck with a fiery ruby necklace which goes well with the fire in her belly, her arms with sparkling bangles that are reflecting all colors just like any peafowl would when it gets excited by the rain droplets falling on its skin and so begins to dance. Synchronous with her inviting looks is also her mood, that is lively from all the blood reaching the furthest extremities in her body, from all the dancing and singing she just did in the lively music in some club nearby. Her cheeks are now showing a healthy red, a sign of the bubbling life in her. Her desire is even more fueled on seeing how her friends look at her as some object of pity, while themselves as the superior one, as why not should they, when they own what she does not, and God willing, the barren land may never get any rain. This day carries in it the power of reversing her curse of infertility, which, if not reversed in time, has the potential to destroy through all her body and mental stress thresholds. In short, her life depends on it. When darling husband opens the door, she jumps on him. She thinks her recently learned trick from reading the Kama Sutra manual diligently is paying off, while he is relieved on finding his back could hold her weight without snapping. Instead of any welcoming signs, he rebuffs her advances. Now she gets angry over his coldness towards her. Mayuri, if you do not find me desirable, then why did you fly across states to marry me? Chanakya, getting more restless. It's impossible today. Even if you were to come to me in the only outfit that I like to see women in, I would still not touch you today. I'm working under a tight deadline, which I have already missed twice. Missing this deadline a third time will mean I will have to face the wrath of my immediate boss, who is already looking for excuses to fire me from the job. I'm a mere slave to my job, losing which will mean a career suicide. Blinded by her own fears, she sees his explanation as just another lame excuse. Mayuri, cheat? Now all my doubts over your intentions of not having another child are taking firm root in my mind. Why would you, when once your tongue had accidentally slipped and revealed your true feelings over the matter? Having a child is a thankless job. One sacrifices one's entire youth, bends backward to raise them, but the best of their abilities, only to find that at the time of old age, when we need help the most, they are unable due to their own limitations. I should have acted right then and then, but I know not why I did not. My whole telos as a woman is at stake. The difference between my energies and yours is that I'm insane for my wish to materialize, while for you, it is just a nice to have. Chanakya, you do not understand the wrath of my boss. On seeing that she is not getting things her way, she becomes even more aggressive. So this time she becomes more violent as she shuts off his computer. Mayuri, leave everything now. All these subterfuges might work well with your 7-year-old daughter, but not with a mature woman like me. You must be scoundrel of scoundrels to shower the feelings meant for your wife, to shower them towards your lovely daughter instead. Chanakya, recomposing himself, just like a thief who got caught with his hand in the cookie jar. You jealous barren woman! Whether or not I'm a scoundrel of scoundrels, you sure are a pervert of perverts for doubting the most sacred relationship that ever existed since eternity. By this time, she has lost all patience with a tone that is reflecting all the anger and anxiety she's feeling. She speaks. I'm too busy myself to put up with your shenanigans. He goes silent. His silence aggravates her even more. She threatens him with pointing fingers like needles. If you're not going to stop working, then what? Then you will spend your night with your dear friend Faust instead, right? His response is dripping with sarcasm, reflecting his jealousy from his wife's closeness to their dear friend. Now she goes silent. Her silence now aggravates him even more. He angrily retorts, I feel used, manipulated, to be used as an instrument in your hands to implement your evil designs. You do not love me as much as you love your dear friend Faust. Your reason for a baby is not because you want a baby with me only, but because you too want the status in society that every vain woman wants, which only comes from becoming a mother. As Sri Krishna in Bhagavad Gita once rightly said, that a body of a woman is like a piece of land. If the land is fertile, seed will certainly take root. If not, then the seed cannot be blamed. You are too silly to see the reason I stay so late in office. Infertility is your curse, but by marrying you, it has become my misfortune too. ... End topic. Begin. Subtopic. A bad omen. The more Mayuri thinks of her situation, the more fear and anxiety tighten their grip on her. Her mind is hyperactive to make this moment happen, as if her whole future depends on the success of this one night alone. The Taurus bull in her is angry, feels cheated, and it is her duty to correct this injustice. But what is this? As she stands up to fight for something that is rightfully hers, she cannot. She has a lead foot, her body frigid. Is it because of the lingering, disturbing effect of the last night's horrible dream that, with a blink of an eye, take away with it the will in me to not give up? The flashes of the dream come in front of her eyes once more as follows. When she begins to embrace her husband, as she puts her arms around him, he appears to morph into some mutilated, weird looking, diseased creature which is covered with warts all over. The moment she sees this transformation, she gets so frightened that it appeared to her that she had intentionally ended the dream by forcefully opening her eyes. She interprets the meaning behind the imagery as a message to her awareness that the one she sees as her husband is not meant for her. Now that she has seen the dream take actual shape, she gets more desperate to get to her goal, even if all the signs are not favorable. Her desperation now takes a dangerous turn by transforming into a burning rage, drowning all the screams of reason that are in unison begging her to let him go. Now anger has taken firm control over her. Her acid tongue is now spitting fire. This worsens the situation even more as the flames of anger engulf the husband too, and so he too loses all his control. From here on, bewilderment and delusion are in firm control over all her later actions. So, like some evil witch that will destroy anything and everything that comes her way, she too let all her anger find its outlet through her long and sharp nails, which she uses as mini knives for making deep wounds all over his body. The wounds are so deep that blood begins to ooze out of them. Some outsider seeing might think that the cause of the husband's bewilderment is his bleeding wounds on the chest, but that is not the case, as the cause is the sight of blood stains all over the freshly installed carpets, which will now need a significant amount of money for cleaning up the whole mess. Before he ends up killing her, he chooses to punish her by not letting her win. So he picks his bag and begins to walk hastily out the door. Seeing him leaving, her anxiety now grips her firmly. She uses a parallel karate move to lunge forward so she can grab him by his thighs, preventing him to leave. But that did not happen. Due to poor execution of her karate move, instead of him Stopping in his tracks, she trips him and falls with her own body flat, face down on the floor. Now she is lying on the floor with a broken leg. He is now in a position where him losing his job is certain. Fortunately, the sun comes out to give a pause to this dance of death that had just started and seemed will stop only once it has turned everything to ash. Dot, dot, dot. End subtopic. Begin subtopic. Act 0. Is she the devil in disguise? Chanakya to himself. The importance of this hard kick in my stomach by being fired from a job cannot be emphasized enough. My wife is sleeping comfortable, thinking that this event only affects my reputation in front of my peers, while not realizing that she will also have to pay, if not double than my losses. Let the sleeping dog sleep a little longer, just enough for me to pull the rug from under her feet before she does mine instead. Being the smarter one of the two, to be successful, I will first trick my ethical self into believing that the wrong I am about to do is the right thing. This way, I am protected from any pangs of guilt or pity which can potentially harm my own sanity instead. So, dear heart of mine, always remember everything about her is fake and pretentious. She professes that the basis of her allegiance towards me is eternal love, while it is easy to see that her claims can never be true, as the basis of this marriage tie is just weak bonds of desperation for unfulfilled desires and fear of a lonely future. Her real allegiance is to her goal, and since the path to get to that point goes through me only, she acts like a servant to me. Since she is not so smart to be that conniving, she does things in innocence, as is clear when in her own innocent way she rationalizes that whatever she does is out of love for me, while really, if I were impotent, then it is she who would be looking for ways of getting rid of me, no matter how painful or evil. For sure, her love for me cannot be pure, as how can it be so when really her heart and mind is completely full of a picture of a baby, even if it is not mine? Her sinister desire has transformed her from some angel to a wretched witch. I cannot even recognize this person from the person that I first met. It is a symbiotic relationship where I have what she needs and that whatever makes her dependent on me as the path to her victory passes through me. So, in a way, she's making a fool of me. And since she is at fault, then it is only fair game if I outsmart her before she makes a fool out of me instead. Okay, then. Now that I'm fully convinced, I will stage a drama that the whole world will see and remember for ages to come. Saying it, he bursts into his signature uncontrolled laughter. Ah, ha 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 ha. Moo, ha 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 ha. Ah, ha 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 ha. Once his uncontrolled laughter is back in control, he at once dials the number of his best friend Faust. After all, what are friends for but to bail a friend in demanding times? Chanakya to Faust. She must not know me. Now I will create such a drama that will expose her devil's mask of selfishness and deceit, not just for her own deluded self, but also for the entire world to see and rejoice with me. Since I no longer have faith in my own senses, as they have betrayed me far too many times to not acknowledge the fact that there is some kink in me which always pushes me away from the path of righteousness towards the path of self destruction instead. Therefore, I want to hire you, my dear friend, my only confidant, as a hitman to go and behead my wife. Faust begins to first laugh, then, becoming serious, lectures his dear friend like a good friend would to any other good friend in distress. He counsels Chanakya to calm down, as there is no situation so complex that cannot be fixed by some good old counseling advice. So he volunteers that he himself will go as his broker to counsel her. He can help her by throwing some light on the real reason behind her insane behavior. Faust. She's an intelligent woman. I know exactly what her problem is. I am sure once she understands what is gripping her moods, she will snap out of it, whatever spell that she's under, just like magic. What I am about to say is not some village gossip monger's spiced up tale, but is based on scientific proven facts which will help you understand that she's genuinely sick, is suffering from symptoms of premenstrual syndrome, also referred to as PMS for short. Why do you think women go through PMS? Because, biologically speaking, it is their last chance to get pregnant during this cycle, which is a woman's most primal goal. And the pain is a biological signal for her to fulfill these need too. At a micro level, when you see there is one egg and billions of sperms fighting with each other to penetrate the egg. Then it is the egg that accepts or rejects. It is only when the egg accepts the right sperm does fertilization occur. Similarly, at a macro level, a lady waits patiently for her right suitor to come and cruelly rejects the others. The right suitor, too, is the one who perseveres for her and only her. Thus, it becomes a test of a woman's ability of whether or not she can live drinking the slow poison of an eternal wait for the right mate who may or may never come, while in case of a man the test lies in his eternal persistence in trying to become worthy in her eyes. And when that magic moment happens, their moment of conjugal bliss lingers on in form of their children, and then children's children, and so on. Chanakya. No, she never listens to anybody, yet if you persist, do go. Give it a try. But remember, if you fail, you will kill her. This will be a huge favor from a friend to another. With all this touch of affection, he gives him a tighter than normal hug. Faust cannot help but wonder if he's bisexual, but then smiles when this thought arises that somewhere we are all promiscuous in nature. Bisexual are people who must take themselves too seriously. Dot, dot, dot. End subtopic. Begin topic. Act 1. A mock fight. Husband Chanakya enters the bedroom where wife Mayuri is sitting with an intent of starting a fight and then leaving for the next stage of his drama to begin. Chanakya. I'm going to my sister's house, far away from your acidic words. He then slams the door on her, insulting her by not caring to hear anything that she had to say. Mayuri. After compromising with my freedom of choices, I feel cheated. We get married and suddenly we have a partner to give or take advice from. Major deception, as whenever an either or / dharam sankat situation arises, either of the two parties will have to compromise. I can now see this contradiction, which is one of the reasons behind my despair. Being a fully grown adult, I'm expected to take full ownership for my actions. For all it is me also who will get fried in hell's cauldron for all these sins in the karmic court. Yet, being a duty-bound wife, my accountability shifts, as now I'm expected to do what my husband thinks is the right thing. All my trust now in the institution of marriage is gone. For me to trust anyone again is impossible. Is not the only true relationship that binds us is humanity and nothing else? I'm now in such a sorry state that even if my darling husband were to walk all over my rights to go for another woman, I will be only drinking that poison silently. Dot, dot, dot. End topic.